It starts with something simple. You open the fridge spot, a container of leftovers, and think I'll just warm this up real quick. Seems harmless, right? But here's the surprising truth. Some foods, when reheated, can quietly harm your digestion, heart, or even your brain over time. And the danger is even greater for seniors whose metabolism, circulation, and immune systems are more sensitive than ever. According to the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, certain reheated foods can release harmful compounds, elevate blood sugar, or even trigger inflammation that accelerates aging. Yet most of us have no idea which ones to avoid and which ones might actually become healthier when gently reheated. So, today we're setting the record straight. We'll uncover 4 everyday foods you should never reheat, and 4 that are not only safe, but even more beneficial the second time around. And stay with us, because the most surprising one might be something you've reheated every week, without even realizing it could be affecting your memory or energy. Before we dive in, we'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city, your state, or even your favorite leftover meal in the comments. Let's see how far our Senior Healthwise family reaches. Let's start with what to avoid. Now let's take a closer look at the foods we think are harmless, but may actually cause more harm than good when reheated, especially for seniors. These are the comfort foods we often find in the back of the fridge, familiar, easy to reheat, and hard to resist. But sometimes the comfort they offer hides a silent cost. Few foods are as American as mashed potatoes. Whether served with roast turkey or baked with butter and chives, they've been a staple on dinner tables for generations. And let's be honest, it's tempting to reheat them the next day. After all, waste not want, not right. But here's the problem. When cooked, white potatoes are cooled, left out too long, or reheated improperly, they become a perfect breeding ground for harmful bacteria, especially Clostridium, botulinum. Even worse, reheating can raise their glycemic index, meaning they can spike your blood sugar faster and higher than freshly cooked ones. A dangerous scenario for anyone managing pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes, or blood pressure issues. Beyond the science, it's also how they're reheated that matters. Microwaving mashed potatoes in plastic containers. A common practice can release BPA and phthalates chemicals linked to hormone disruption, inflammation, and heart disease. And here's a deeper layer. Most people overlook reheated potatoes may look, smell, and taste the same, but they've lost the fiber integrity and natural resistance that helps regulate digestion. What remains is often a dense starchy mass that can sit heavily in your stomach and sap your energy. So what should you do instead? If you do plan to save potatoes for later, store them in glass containers, reheat them thoroughly on the stove, and limit portion size. Or better yet, cook only what you need. Because in this case, that warm second serving may cost more than it gives. But potatoes aren't the only familiar comfort food with a hidden risk. Another everyday favorite, especially among health-conscious seniors, can also become unexpectedly harmful when reheated. It's hard to beat the goodness of spinach. It's one of the healthiest greens out there, rich in iron, folate, vitamin K, and antioxidants. For many seniors, it's a go-to vegetable in soups, omelettes, or sautéed alongside grilled chicken. But when spinach has already been cooked once, reheating it can quietly transform it from a superfood into a silent risk. Here's why spinach is naturally high in nitrates, compounds that are perfectly safe, even beneficial when consumed fresh or properly cooked. But when you reheat spinach, especially at high temperatures, those nitrates can convert into nitrites and eventually nitrosamines, chemicals that have been linked to cellular damage, and in some cases cancer. This isn't meant to scare you, but rather to make you more aware. Because the problem often isn't just the spinach. It's how long it sat out after being cooked, how it was stored, and how many times it's been reheated. Every time heat is applied again, those chemical reactions intensify. What's more, overcooked, reheated spinach loses its bright green vitality and often becomes slimy bitter or difficult to digest. Instead of energizing your system, it can weigh you down and upset your stomach, especially for those with sensitive digestion or gallbladder issues. One woman from Florida, Judith, 73, used to reheat leftover spinach with eggs every morning until her doctor pointed out her persistent bloating and fatigue might be related. Once she stopped reheating it and started using fresh greens instead, her energy noticeably improved. So, what's the smarter move? If you've got leftover cooked spinach, skip the microwave. Instead, repurpose it cold in a smoothie, or mix it into a fresh salad. Or better yet, prepare spinach in small portions. You can eat immediately. When it comes to leafy greens, freshness isn't just a preference, it's protection. And then, there's mushrooms, delicate by nature, dangerous. When reheated spinach may lose its safety when warmed again, but mushrooms, they carry a whole different kind of risk when tossed back into the pan or microwave. You see, mushrooms are incredibly rich in protein antioxidants and complex amino acids, but they're also extremely delicate in structure. Once they've been cooked, their cell walls begin to break down. If left out too long, then reheated, the proteins can degrade, leading to digestive distress, bloating, or in some cases, even food poisoning. If contamination has set in, and the problem grows worse when mushrooms are reheated multiple times, or not stored at the right temperature below 40 degrees. Harmful bacteria like Listeria and Clostridium perfringens can thrive in these conditions, putting older adults at serious risk. There's also the matter of taste. Mushrooms that are crisp and savoury, when fresh, often turn rubbery, spongy or bitter after reheating, especially in the microwave. What was once a nourishing side dish becomes something that sits heavy in your stomach and dulls your appetite. Let me tell you about Robert, a 69-year-old retired veteran from Minnesota. He used to saute mushrooms in olive oil every Sunday for his steak dinner, then save the leftovers for his omelette the next morning. But after repeated bouts of indigestion, his doctor suggested cutting out reheated mushrooms. He made the switch and his gut health improved within just a week. So, what's the takeaway? Enjoy mushrooms fresh. Cook what you'll eat. And if there are leftovers, eat them cold within a day or simply toss them out. Because when it comes to mushrooms, less warming means more peace of mind. Finally, let's talk about eggs, a protein powerhouse that turns risky when reheated. After mushrooms, there's one more everyday food that deserves your attention. Not because it looks dangerous, but because it seems so harmless. Eggs. They're one of the most complete sources of protein you can eat, boiled, scrambled, or baked into a casserole. Eggs show up in breakfast plates, lunch salads, and dinner quiches across generations. But once cooked, reheating eggs can trigger chemical changes that make them less nutritious and more harmful than you think. Why? Because eggs are high in cholesterol, and when exposed to high heat, a second time, the fats and proteins can oxidize. This oxidized cholesterol has been linked to inflammation in the arteries, higher cardiovascular risk, and in sensitive individuals, a heavier burden on the digestive system. That's why many seniors who reheat egg-based dishes like quiches or breakfast sandwiches report increased bloating, sluggish digestion, or a strange greasy feeling afterward. And if those eggs were stored improperly or reheated unevenly, the risk of bacterial contamination rises dramatically, particularly with salmonella. It's not just theory, it's lived experience. Take Helen, 75, from North Carolina. She used to prep a week's worth of egg muffins on Sunday and reheat them every morning for convenience. But she noticed that by midweek, she felt more tired and uncomfortable after breakfast. Once she switched to cooking eggs fresh or swapping some meals with Greek yogurt or oatmeal, she felt clearer and more energetic throughout the day. So what's the better choice? Eat eggs freshly cooked whenever possible. If you must reheat them, do it gently on the stovetop, not in the microwave, and only once. And always store them in airtight containers, kept cold below 40 degrees. Because with eggs, the real danger isn't the food itself. It's the second time around. We've seen how some reheated foods can turn against your body, disrupting digestion, triggering inflammation, and even increasing long-term risks. But here's the good news. Not all reheated foods are bad. In fact, some dishes actually become more beneficial the second time around, unlocking better digestion, richer nutrients, and even emotional comfort. Especially for seniors, warming the right foods in the right way can bring back not just flavor, but balanced gut health and even a sense of peace. So now let's explore 4 foods that are not only safe to reheat, but may actually be healthier the second time around. There's something timeless about a bowl of vegetable soup. It's not just food, it's memory. A reminder of snowy afternoons, quiet dinners, or that comforting smell filling your childhood kitchen. And the good news, vegetable soup is one of the best meals you can reheat, especially for older adults. When you reheat soup made from carrots, celery, onions or tomatoes, their antioxidant levels often increase. Why? Because slow heating helps break down cell walls in vegetables, making vitamins and phytonutrients like lycopene and beta-carotene. More bioavailable, easier for your body to absorb. In fact, studies show that cooked and reheated tomatoes may provide more lycopene, a compound that supports heart health, eye function, and reduces inflammation. And here's another benefit. Warm soup stimulates digestion, hydrates the body, and can be soothing for those with sensitive teeth or reduced appetite. Just make sure to store leftover soup properly in glass containers refrigerated within 2 hours and reheated gently on the stove, not in plastic. Because sometimes a second bowl doesn't just warm your belly, it heals a part of your past. Let's move to another pantry, staple brown rice, nutty, chewy, and packed with fiber. It's long been recommended for blood sugar control and heart health. But did you know that reheating brown rice the right way can actually make it better for your gut? When brown rice is cooked cooled and then reheated, it forms something called resistant starch, a type of fiber that resists digestion and feeds the good bacteria in your colon. This process, known as starch retrogradation, can help reduce spikes in blood sugar, improve insulin sensitivity, and promote smoother digestion. All crucial for seniors. The key is to store it safely. Cool it quickly after cooking, store below 40 degrees Celsius, and reheat thoroughly to at least 165 degrees Celsius before eating again. For older adults dealing with sluggish digestion, irregularity, or even weakened immune response, this humble grain becomes more than a side dish. It becomes a small act of self-care. For many seniors, oatmeal is more than breakfast. It's a daily ritual, warm, mild, and easy to digest. It brings comfort without overwhelming the system. What makes it even better? Oatmeal, once cooked and cooled, also forms resistant starch, just like brown rice. This means reheating it the next morning can support your gut health even more than eating it fresh. And the nutrients, oats retain beta-glucan, a type of soluble fiber that helps lower LDL cholesterol, balance blood sugar, and boost immune function even after reheating. Just be mindful of what you add. Skip sugary toppings and instead go for cinnamon chopped walnuts or blueberries, which enhance both taste and health benefits. If you've ever made a big batch on Sunday and reheated it all week, don't worry. This is one of the rare times where convenience actually supports your well-being. Lastly, let's talk about beans, whether black navy kidney or pinto. Slow-cooked beans are one of the most underrated second-day superfoods. When beans are cooked, cooled, and then reheated, they not only develop richer flavor, they also retain and enhance their resistant starch content, just like rice and oats. This means better digestion, steadier blood sugar, and improved cholesterol control for older adults. Beans are also full of plant-based protein, folate, magnesium, and polyphenols, all of which support heart health, brain function, and healthy aging. One popular example. In the South, families often make a big pot of Sunday beans with cornbread, and many will tell you the leftovers on Monday taste even better. Just remember to store them safely and reheat gently on the stovetop with a splash of water or broth. Because sometimes the simplest foods like beans and love are even better the second time around. By now you've seen that reheating food can go both ways. It can strip away nutrients, release harmful compounds, or quietly sabotage your digestion. But it can also unlock deeper benefits, supporting gut health, lowering inflammation, and bringing comfort through warm, familiar meals. The difference isn't just in what we eat, it's in how we treat it, how we store it, reheat it, and choose it again. For seniors especially, this matters more than ever, because as we age, our bodies become more sensitive to preservatives, to bacteria, to chemical changes in food, and the line between convenient and risky becomes thinner with every year. But that's not a reason to fear food. It's a reason to become wiser about it. Every time you reach into the fridge to reheat leftovers, you're making a small decision that echoes beyond that meal. You're choosing either comfort that supports you or convenience that might betray you. And the good news is, it doesn't take much to choose wisely. A little awareness, a little care, and your body will thank you one warm bite at a time. So now, reheating food isn't just about saving time. It's about protecting your strength, your balance, your digestion, and your peace of mind. You don't need to fear leftovers. You just need to know which ones deserve a second round and which ones should quietly say goodbye. Because every plate you reheat is a chance to support your heart, your gut, your energy, one bite at a time. And when you choose with care, you don't just feed your body, you nourish the years ahead. So tell us, which of today's foods surprised you most? Have you been reheating any of these without knowing the risks or benefits? We'd love to hear your story in the comments. And if this video helped you think differently about your everyday meals, consider sharing it with someone who might be doing the same. Sometimes a little food wisdom goes a long way.